Spring 2016 anime. And you thought there is never a girl online, question mark, by Project Number 9, light novel adaptation. Story centers on Hideki Nishimura, a young man who confesses to a person he thought was a girl online, only for that person to turn out to be a boy. I know that feel. He keeps this black history secret and swears to never trust a girl online again. However, one day, a girl online confesses to him, and it turns out she's actually a beautiful girl named Ako Taimaki. Ako cannot tell the difference between the online world and reality, and she is a loner who has trouble communicating. Hideki and his friends from his guild decide to work together to correct her. Everything that's in quotes in this summary is triggering. Quote unquote correct, quote unquote girl, quote unquote black history. Bakuon, exclamation, exclamation, by TMS Entertainment. It's a manga adaptation. The story revolves around high school girls who discover the appeal of motorcycles. Sakura Hane is a high school student who looks a little bit like an airhead. On the way to her all-female high school, one day she is worn out climbing a hilly road with a bicycle, but she sees a girl named Ansa Amano who is riding a motorcycle. Sakura immediately becomes interested in motorcycles, and she and Ansa join the motorcycle club at the school. Then Sakura sets out to get her license. Sounds and looks a little bit like the bicycle one, the bicycle anime I like, except without any of the sweat and tears. Personally, I think motorcycles, engined vehicles, pretty lame. If you're a real man or a girl, you should be able to bicycle anywhere with the heart and spirit and sweat and energy of your own power, instead of leeching off the power of ancient creatures. Yeah. Big Order by Ass Reed. It's a manga adaptation. 10 years ago, a child wished for the destruction of the world. Now a group of people has the ability which grants their wishes depending on their power. They are called Order User. User Order. To order the beef user? It sounds like a corporate name for consumers. Before these great people who had the power of order, one person excels most, with the ability to rule and conquer the world and turn people into puppets. When it is in his jurisdiction, that power belongs to Hoshimiya Eiji, who is also responsible with the destructive phenomena that happened exactly 10 years ago. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand what this anime is about, but it reads like a McDonald's employee manual. When an order user has a big order. Bungo Stray Dogs by Bones. It's a manga adaptation. Nakajima Atsushi was kicked out of his orphanage by some dickhole who kicks kids out of orphanages. And now he has no place to go and no food. While he's standing by a river on the brink of starvation, he rescues a man whimsically attempting suicide. I'm having trouble reading, I'm sorry. No, that's the actual words. That man is Dazai Osamu, and he and his partner Kunikita are members of a very special detective agency. They have supernatural powers and deal with cases that are too dangerous for the police or the military. They're tracking down a tiger that has appeared in the area recently. Around the time Atsushi came to the area, the tiger seems to have a connection to sushi, and by the time the case is solved, it is clear that Sushi's future will involve much more of Dazai and the rest of the detectives. I don't understand the things that were said. The sushi kid attracted the tiger because he's made a sushi. He was kicked out of an orphanage because he smelled of sushi. Saved a detective, and I guess he's gonna become a sushi detective. Cerberus by Bridge. Video game adaptation. The anime is set in a continent ruled by sword and magic called Kunan, where a power balance between the Holy Kingdom of Amoria, the Kingdom of Ishifen, and the Vander's Kingdom keeps a peace so unstable that any tragedy that befalls any one kingdom will mean war for the entire continent. Another power, the evil dragon Dagenzord, also resides on the continent, and no one is powerful enough to stop him from spreading destruction and charred land in his wake. Two individuals, Byro and Kismitsete, undertook a ritual alongside a party of wizards to seal Dagenzord, but were foiled. This event was known thereafter as the Balbagoa tragedy. Byro and Kimitsetete's son, Hiro, is saved by Giru, and Hiro swears to avenge his parents' death and trains himself with the sword. When Hiro turns 16, he sets out on a journey to slay the dragon, and Giru accompanies him, having no choice. Along the way, they meet many types of people and gain companions on their journey. So, it's a hero going to slay a dragon. Concrete Revolutio, The Last Song by Bones. It's an original. The stage is set in another Japan as a banquet of diverse superhumans unfolds. In an imaginary age of gods, about 20 years after the war, Japan has grown and developed by leaps and bounds. What if all superhumans ever written about in fictional stories existed at the same time? Superhumans who came into existence through different circumstances, who are special in different ways. Titans from outer space, life forms from a mystical world, phantoms and goblins from ancient times, cyborgs created by scientists, relics that rose out of the ruins of ancient civilizations, and the list goes on. One segment of these superhumans makes no secret of their existence and has gained popularity in society. Others cloak their identities and fight in secrecy. There are enemies of superhumans as well, organizations that operate in the shadows. The Japanese government has taken many measures to secure peace and order. One is the establishment of an organization under the Ministry of Health and Welfare, the Overpopulation Research Laboratory, aka the Superhuman Bureau. Their mission is to identify and approach superhumans, then oversee and safeguard them. One member of the Superhuman Bureau, Jiro Hideyoshi, is protagonist of this series. So basically, Bones saw that other show with the superheroes was really popular and then decided to make their own with like lots of colors. I like the poster. It's got lots of colors. I love lots of colors. Yellow, green, and blue, pink, black, purple, red, rainbow. It's got everything. But it sounds really dumb. End Ride by Brainsbase. It's an original. The story is set on Endra, an unknown world beneath the surface of Earth itself. It is another world where the giant Adamas shines above and 7-colored bands drift across the skies. One day, Shun Asagana, an ordinary yet positive and bright 15-year-old middle school boy who lived in the land above, lands in this place. He had discovered a mysterious crystal at his scientific businessman's father's... Hold on. He discovered a mysterious crystal at his scientific businessman father's company. And the moment he touched the crystal, he was transported to Endra. He meets Prince Emilio, who strongly despises the current king Deruzane and had just turned 16 at Endra's castle. He became of age to ascend to the throne, and he wields a weapon to seek his I'm so lost. Okay, I get it. He was in the real world, and he got transported to some ancient-ish world. That's what the crystal... Alright, yeah. I'm caught up now. He wields a weapon to seek his vengeance at last, but the difference in strength proves to be insurmountable. Captured and imprisoned by Deruzane, Emilio is heartbroken, but then the walls of the prison suddenly become distorted and Shun appears within them. Two youths live in Endra, one to return to his former world and one to exact revenge. The future that is within the grasp of two youths raised in different worlds. It sounds like a JRPG plot, like straight up. High Fury by Production IMS. It's an original. In the sea we live, the sea we protect, and by the sea we go. Okay. Japan, 100 years after plate subductions caused many other countries to be submerged. To save the remaining countries, the coastal cities that have been built up were launched into the seas, and the seaborne routes between them expanded. With this expansion, a need for personnel that could safeguard the seas arose. Women began to seek employment in this new industry, and soon the Blue Mermaids, those who keep the seas safe, began to be a source of admiration for many. The childhood friends Akino, Misaki, and Mako China, is that her name, Mako China? Sought to become Blue Mermaids themselves, and together with others who share their dream, they enrolled in Yokosuka's Marine High School. Uh, uh, um, so this is like water world, and then like for some reason, like, I mean, people protect sea routes right now. I just saw like a Vice documentary on protecting sea routes. It's dudes with guns. Not that women can't be dudes with guns, but I can't really see young girls being really looking up to. I don't know. Maybe it's a different world, water world, piss drinking. Haven't you heard? Question mark. I'm Sakamoto by Studio Dean. It's a manga adaptation. First year high school student Sakamoto isn't just cool. He's the coolest. The fucking coolest. Almost immediately after starting school, he began attracting everyone's attention. The girls love him, and most of the boys resent him. There's even a boy in the class who works as a model, but who is constantly upstaged by Sakamoto. No matter what tricks the other boys try to play on him, Sakamoto always manages to foil them with ease and grace. Though Sakamoto may seem cool and aloof, he helps others when asked, such as in the case of the boy in the class who was being constantly bullied. No matter what difficulties Sakamoto encounters, he moves through his high school life with confidence and class. Sounds like a goddamn Mary Sue, Gary Stew, Barry Pooh, Larry Jew. I take it this manga author didn't have a fun time in school. Maybe decided to live out his fantasy of being the coolest, nicest guy ever who gets all the girls. Oh. Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress by Wit Studio. It's an original. As the world is in the middle of an industrial revolution, a monster appears that cannot be defeated unless its heart, which is protected by a layer of iron, is pierced. By infecting humans with its bite, the monster can create aggressive and undead creatures known as Kabane. On the island Hinomoto, located in the Far East, people have built stations to shelter themselves from these creatures. People access the station as well as transport wares between them with the help of a locomotive running on steam called Hayajiro. Ikoma, a boy who lives in the Aragane station and helps to build Hayajiro, creates his own weapon called Suranu Kitsutsu Du Boo Boo Chu. Choo-choo! In order to defeat the creatures. One day, as he waits for an opportunity to use his weapons, he meets a girl named Mume, who is excused from the mandatory Kabane inspection. During the night, Ikuma meets Mume again, and he sees Hayajiro going out of control. The staff on the locomotive have turned into the creatures. The station now under attack by Kabane is the opportunity Ikoma has been looking for. It kind of sounds like Attack on Titan. Like maybe Wit Studio saw Attack on Titan and decided to make their own version. Except with trains. Gotta love trains. I know I love trains. Kamiwaza Wanda by TMS Entertainment. It's an original. The story is set in a world where every event has been turned into programs, and mysterious monsters known as Promen maintain the world. However, many Promen who have turned into bugs known as Bugmen are responsible for many of the world's real-life bugs. Left alone, they may eventually turn into a big problem. The boy Yuto encounters the space dog Wanda, and and the pair use a camera-like device and key items to capture Bugmen. Promen themselves are able to do things like accelerate objects, spew fire, or create objects through an ability known as Kamiwaza, Miracle, and are able to fend off Bugmen with it. At first, the Bugmen only cause small, bothersome things, but it will soon elevate into a global scale threat. Can one boy and one dog save the world? I don't know a damn shonen where a boy and dog can't save the world. They better. The digital real world depends on it. Kisniver by Trigger. It's an original. The fictional Japanese city named Sugimori City is built on reclaimed land, but as the years go by, the city's population is decreasing. One day, Sonozaki tells her classmate Katsuhira, "You have been selected to be a Kisniver." The Kizuna system, which allows Katsuhira to share his wounds, connects him to the classmate whose lives and personalities completely differ from his. The Kizuna system is an incomplete system for the implementation of world peace that connects people through wounds. All those who are connected to the system are called Kisnivers. When one Kisniver is wounded, the system divides and transmits the wound among the other Kisnivers. That's an interesting sci-fi concept. I will check that out. Kumamiko Girl Meets Bear by Kinema Citrus. It's a manga adaptation. The story follows Machi, a middle school student who serves as a shrine maiden at a Shinto shrine, enshrining a bear in the recesses of a certain mountain in Japan's northern Tohoku region. Machi's guardian is a talking bear named Natsu, and one day Machi says to Natsu, "I want to go to a school in the city." The worrywart Natsu then gives Machi, who is ignorant in the ways of the world, a set of trials that she must pass in order to be able to survive in the city. Bear trials. What does a bear know about living in the city? Kuro Mukuro by PA Works. It's original. During the construction of the Kurobe Dam, an ancient artifact was discovered, and so the United Nations Kurobe Research Institute was established. Intellectuals from all around the world gathered to study the object, and the children of those researchers attend Mount Tate International Senior High School, including the institute's head daughter, Yukina Shirahane. In the summer of 2016, a lone samurai once again awakens. What? They're making a dam. They found an ancient artifact. There's a high school for no good reason. And then there's a samurai for even less of a reason. Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn Re-0096 by Sunrise. It's a light novel adaptation. UC-0096, 3 years after a charged rebellion, Banagar links a boy who lives on the manufacturing colony Industrial 7, meets a mysterious girl named Audrey Byrne. She claims to seek to prevent a potential war by interfering with the transfer of Laplace's box from the VIS Foundation to a Neon Xeon remnant group named as known as Sleeves. However, when a Federation squad also sent to prevent the transfer clashes with the Sleeves, the colony is plunged into battle as Bangar races through the flames in search of Audrey. One other fateful encounter awaits him, the Unicorn Gundam, a pale white mobile suit that's the key to Laplace's box. What is Laplace's box? What are the secrets that it holds? For the first time in 100 years, light will shine into the darkest secrets of the universal century.
My Hero Academia by Bones, a manga adaptation.
What would the world be like if 80% of the population manifested extraordinary superpowers called quirks at age 4? Heroes and villains would be battling it out everywhere. Becoming a hero would mean learning to use your power. But where would you go to study? Hero program, of course. But what would you do if you were to find a purpose?
I'm not really happy with so many superhero bullshit infesting anime. I came to anime to get away from superhero bullshit. Thank you very much. Now it's just superhero bullshit in high schools. ReZero, Starting Life in Another World by White Fox, a light novel adaptation. In the story, Subaru Natsuki is an ordinary high school student who is lost in an alternate world where he is rescued by a beautiful silver-haired girl. He stays near her to return the favor, but the destiny she is burdened with is more than Subaru can imagine. Enemies attack one by one, and both of them are killed. The end. He then finds out that he has the power to rewind death back to the time he first came to this world, but only he remembers what has happened since. So we got another time rewinding show this season. but this time it's based on a light novel. So this time it's gonna be Shonen Maid by 8-Bit, a manga adaptation. Revolves around Chihiro Komiya, an energetic elementary school student who is living with his mom. Chihiro is very good at doing housework and chores, and his mother's motto is no work, no food. After his mother suddenly dies, a man named Madoka Takatori, who claims to be his uncle, shows up and asks Chihiro to come live with him. Chihiro initially refuses, but when seeing the horribly dirty state of Madoka's rich home, he decides to start cleaning it. Then Madoka makes another offer to Chihiro that he comes to live with him, but in exchange Chihiro will do the housework. Chihiro accepts this deal, but suddenly finds himself in a maid uniform. That's kind of Super Lovers by Studio Dean. Manga adaptation: a high school boy named Haru and his mother are living overseas. His mother orders him to take care of and civilize his adoptive brother Ren. Civilize. A wild young boy who dislikes talking with other people. While their relationship is adversarial at first, they grow closer as they begin to understand one another. Super Lovers. I would normally think that it was just a poorly chosen name by a Japanese manga author, you know, as they do. They pick some English words. Super Lovers. Maybe it makes sense in the Japanese English dictionary. But with this art, something's telling me that it was intentional. Tanaka-kun is always listless by Silverlink. Silverlink. It's manga adaptation. Tanaka, who is a high school student, simply is a slacker and does not want to do anything at all. He loves to sleep during classes and prefers not moving to save energy. One day, he meets his classmate Oda, who is exactly the opposite. Oda is energetic and the leader of the class. He becomes friends with Tanaka and tries to make him start moving. I already know I'm gonna hate the leader guy who's energetic. Just leave him be. Just let him not move. It's fine. The Lost Village by Diomedia. It's an original. 30 young men and women who came together on a shady bus tour. The tour's destination, an elusive, possibly non-existent village called Nanakimura. In Nanakimura, one can lead a utopian existence free of the world's obstacles. Ellipsis. So it was rumored, like an urban legend. In despair over the real world, ellipsis, wanting to escape the tedious daily life, ellipsis, wanting to restart your life from scratch, ellipsis, the bus headed deep into the mountains, carrying 30 people, each harboring their own expectations and wounds in their hearts, ellipsis. And so, the place these 30 arrived at was in an uninhabited village with a lingering faint sense of life, even though it was falling apart. What is the truth of Nanakamura facing the 30? You can't miss even one episode. Dun dun. I think I heard something about this one. I think this is the one where there's like a mountain or forest or something where people go to commit suicide? Maybe? Twin Star Exorcists by Studio Perrot. It's a manga adaptation. Rakugo dreams of becoming anything but an exorcist. Then mysterious Benio turns up. The pair are dubbed the Twin Star Exorcists and learn they are fated to marry, ellipsis. Can Rakugo escape both fates? Bruh. If you don't want to be an exorcist and don't want to marry the other exorcist, just don't become an exorcist and don't marry the other exorcist. When Rokuro's best friend Ryogo goes missing, Rokuro is forced to ask Benio to help to enter Magado, the realm of evil Kegare, to rescue him. Bro. Alright, now we got some shorts. Aggressive Retsuko by Sanrio. Hello Kitty people. The show centers on Retsuko, a 25-year-old red panda who works in her dream company's accounting department, but it turns out that she is forced to keep doing more and more impossible tasks by her superiors and coworkers. She doesn't talk back to them, but she still has to let off steam, so she ends up going to karaoke by herself and singing death metal. Sanrio, or I think they're losing it. I think they're fucking losing it. They've got too much money. Coco and Nico by Kachidoki Studio. Coco and Nico are two cats who need to take lessons to become princesses. Because Coco and Nico are prone to pranks, a cat named Oppenheimer watches over them every day. Oppenheimer's gonna kill them, isn't he? That seems likely. Crane Game Girls by Kyotoma. It's an original. The story centers on three girls, Mirai, Ayaka, and Kyoko. The three are the only ones who can save Earth from being destroyed by a group of asteroids. They are hired by Sayo, the representative of a shadowy organization, and the organization starts work on turning them into an idol group. What? While the trio are more than prepared to be idols, they are instead taken into an arcade. But what? Thank you, Dor. I assume they can stop asteroids because they're astrophysicists and like have a rocket company to stop asteroids. Namiko Sakai no Tomodachi by Studio Dean. It's a video game adaptation. Namiko Forest is where different kinds of Namiko from all over the world gather. Namiko and his friends who live in the forest decide to tell people about the forest's charm by becoming guides, forming the group Universal Rangers of Namiko Forest. The Namiko that come from all over the world are all unique with their own personalities. Herpa-darpa-darpa. I'm Namiko. Herpa-darpa-darpa. It's probably got a cutesy voice, knowing these shows. But it should sound like herpa-darpa-darpa. Herpa-darpa-darpa. Panda Piece! Exclamation mark by Asahi Production. It's a manga adaptation. The fourth coma centers around Minami, an airheaded girl who is starting high school and who loves eating bread for breakfast. Baked goods brings happiness every day to her and her classmates. The reliable Yu, the pastry baking Fuyumi, and the independent Noah. Are we at the bottom of the bucket yet for cute girl shows? You got 4 slices of moe girls in between 2 slices of bread. Yeah. Ragna Strike Angels by Satelight. It's a video game adaptation. The series follows fighting girls whose size is increased to 38 meters, about 125 feet tall. Well, it's not my fetish, but it's someone's fetish, and they're gonna be happy. If that's your fetish, I've got the anime for you. Ragna Strike Angels. Ragna Strike. Get on it. Or, you know, they get on you, I guess. They're big girls. Space Patrol Luluko by Trigger. It's original. The show takes place in Ogi-Kubo, which is the name of the specially designed area in space in the Milky Way where Earthlings and aliens can live together. Luluko is a female middle school student who lives with her father, and no matter where she is, Luluko is a common super normal girl. As she is living her normal life, one day the mysterious transfer student A Omega Nova abruptly appears before her. That meeting will change Luluko's fate. You really wanted me to pronounce A Omega? Of all the unpronounceable names, that is one of them. I love this, the siren on her head. Tonkatsu DJ Agataro by Studio Dean, manga adaptation. The manga follows Agataro Katsumata, a stupid but honest guy whose family has run a tonkatsu restaurant for 3 generations. He's also a beginner club DJ. Okay, I think I want to watch this. Look at that dumb face. Look at it. And it's about him being a DJ. Wagamama High Spec by Axis, a visual novel adaptation. Wagamama High Spec revolves around Koki Narumi, a high school student who also draws a manga serialized in a weekly magazine. Because the manga he draws is risque romantic comedy, he keeps this fact a secret from everyone around him, with his younger sister Toa and his best friend Mihiro being the only ones who know. But one day, as a student council president, Karuko Roku no Aji Mama is searching for male members for the student council, he finds out that Koki is the manga's author. Koki joins the student council in exchange for Karuko not revealing his secret. However, the vice president, Ase R. Sakuragi, strongly opposes him joining, and in the midst of all this, various requests and troubles of students begin to pile up. Guaranteed that summary is longer than the episodes. Alright, that season sounds thoroughly not great. Which is sad, because previous season had some really wonderful things. Except for the 4 episodes of Digimon that came out. That was fucking awful. I think I've dropped Digimon after this point. For those who missed it, Digimon Tri had put out 4 episodes at the first season of this year, and put out another 4 for the previous season. And it's just trash. It's so trash. The quality is still shit. The first 4 episodes were crap. These 4 episodes were crap. This time around, Joe is having some bullshit melodrama, and Ty and Matt still aren't done with their melodrama. And it starts hinting at a character from the season that should not be named being in it. Leomon shows up to die again. Spoiler alert. And, you know that girl who had the DeviantArt original character Donut Steel Digimon? Yeah, it turns out that thing has the darkness inside it. Who would have known from that design? Who would have possibly known? I've dropped the show. It's dropped. But the good things previous season, Haikyuu, obviously, I loved Haikyuu. Every season it's been out, and it's been consistently great. I've told people to watch it plenty. You should definitely watch it. Haikyuu. It's about volleyball. It's beautifully animated. It's got great sound design. The manga is great too. You should read the manga if you like manga. And but the adaptation is just as great. Yeah, it's great. It's pretty great. It's great. It's great. This second season of it wrapped up last season. It was great, and I'm looking forward to more. I'm further along in the manga than I am in the anime, but I still watched all of it because it's great. Unlike Diamond Ace no Dia no A whatever, which has a terrible anime, and I would not be watching it if the manga was fully adapted. The manga of Dia no A is beautiful, but the anime is not. Another show I would recommend, but only really if you are into game development, which I assume some of the people watching this may very well be, is the Shoujo Tachi show, the visual novel adaptation, which was like a meta harem show. It turned out to be very watchable if you're, like, I wouldn't recommend it if you weren't into game development. The main character completely ignores the implied harem stuff, which really, if he's willing to ignore the harem bullshit, I can ignore the harem bullshit, and the show suddenly gets so much better, and it focuses on the pains of game development, which I know something about. I can empathize with that. Although it's not entirely truthful pains of game development, because they always find a way around certain things that probably would be insurmountable, like working on a team, like that piece of shit programmer. Yeah, but if you it's a really good show if you can fully understand how impossible the situation is and how aggravating these characters really are, because in reality their visual novel would never ever get finished, not even a demo. And now some more things I'm willing to recommend without strings attached. Galko-chan was really great, and it's short, so you could probably get through it in a day easy. Normally shorts aren't that great. They're kind of airy and fluffy and a little bit too empty. Galko-chan does not have that problem. It was supposed to be like a lewd comedy. That's what you got from like the summary. And it is a lewdish, I guess. But normally a lewd comedy is suggestive, like erotic, whereas this isn't. They're basically kids in school talking about a lot of sexual, biological subjects because they're kids in school, and that's what kids in school talk about. And at a surface glance, it seems like all the characters are parodies or cliches, but all the dialogue and comedy feels very organic, and the characters end up becoming very fleshed out, very human, fairly authentic, realistic, and it's just not forced. It's not inauthentic, which is not something you can say for very many things set in high school in anime. I mean, hell, even when it does racier stuff, like the obligatory pool bath episode, it still comes off as effortless and natural. Also, I love the art design. I want to eat the screen. It's candy. It's a candy screen. Everything is so colorful. And next, there was Erased, which I hear there was a lot of hype for. I hear that some people, the hype didn't live up for them. I didn't go into it expecting anything, so maybe that's the reason I still like it. But Erased was really good and worth watching. This is the one where the main character has like a Groundhog Day curse slash power, where something bad happens around him, and then he gets sent back in time and has to keep reliving it until he fixes it. This is used to make like a really excellent thriller, and just perfectly, it's a perfect package for a single season drama. I love it when there's a good open and close single season drama, and I like thrillers. Probably the only thing that really bothers me about Erased is how it starts with the main character being a manga author. He's like rejected by his editor, and he's given some really shit advice about like living more. You should live more, have more experiences. And it really bothered me because it seemed way too much like something like an author would actually get from an editor or a critic in real life. I kind of thought like the writer of this was probably actually rejected from his manga. This is a manga adaptation, so I'm assuming he was rejected by an editor in the exact same way, and so he wrote it into this story to make it appeal to an editor. And so that just makes me first think that the main character is a self-insert, which isn't a great way to start a story by telling me that the author is going to be shoving himself into it so blatantly. It just sort of needlessly calls attention to the fourth wall. It really, him being a manga author ends up having no bearing on the plot. Never really comes into actual use in the plot. It's just a thing that's there, which seems really weird in this really tight plot-focused show. If he was a failing actor, that would have made way more sense in the context of this series. I can't help but think he wrote in exactly what happened with his previous manga's rejection, and his like piece of shit editor that he brought this story to was so narcissistic that he enjoyed seeing the shit advice he gave previously immortalized. I don't know if that's actually a thing that happened, but it seems pretty likely to me that is something an author would do to try and catch the attention of the editor, the gatekeeper. And I can feel this editor's stupidity in keeping it canon instead of trying to rework it. Other than that, it's a really cool thriller. I've seen some people complaining that like they knew who the villain was right away. But I mean, you're supposed to know who the villain is. It's a thriller. The thrilling part is not knowing what's going to happen between these people. This show is not a mystery. Don't go into it thinking it's a mystery. If you had trouble figuring out who the villain was, you're stupid. No other way to put that. The last one I want to talk about is the best of the season. One you absolutely must watch. It's stunning. Easily contender for anime of the year. Rakugo, something something. So to give a quick explanation of the show, Rakugo are these one-man shows, just a stage and an actor telling a story. And so in the anime, you have many of these Rakugo shows, including some full ones. In the first episode, for example, it's an hour long. I don't think I've ever seen an extended anime episode before, but this one was extended, and it had it might have had two full Rakugo shows where the character is just doing a one-man show. And to make these sequences work, you obviously need some excellent acting from the voice cast, but you also need excellent acting from the animators, and everyone delivers in this show. The voice cast is doing an excellent job, and the animators are doing these really beautiful, subtle animations to make these scenes work, because otherwise it's just a talking head on a stage doesn't convey a one-man show, doesn't convey the subtlety of acting. And let me say that doing action sequences, that stuff is easy. As an animator, that stuff, it's big and impressive, but the more extreme emotion is, the easier it is to animate. And these Rakugo storytelling segments are so subtle. These animations conveying actors acting are about the hardest thing you can do, and they've done an amazing job. I mean, this is animation not just conveying what the actor is acting, but it's also conveying the subtle nervous tics of the actor doing their first performance, stuff like that. It's really brilliant. And I have shat on Studio Dean a lot previously for pumping out garbage, but this is Studio Dean's legacy forever to me now. I mean, this is whenever I see Studio Dean, this is going to be what I'm thinking about, because this is the best thing they have ever produced. Oh yeah, and I should stop gushing about the animation and the performances and mention the rest of the plot. It's a historical drama. It starts out in the 70s and then jumps back to the 40s, like pre-World War II, and then goes through World War II, and it, works its way back, telling the story of two Rakugo actors who have the same master and grew up together and become semi-famous, both of them. And just lots of shows of them acting and dealing with all very tightly bound to the acting. They don't stray too far into tangents about the war or poverty or anything else that's going on. It's all told through this lens of the acting and just trying to make a career out of a hard thing to make a career out of. Absolute must watch. All right,